Matt,
Where are we, Greg? What is this?
We are in the Holy of Holies. So in terms of the archives, this is our secure storage room that we keep on site here at our global headquarters.
I watched you have to do the retina scan to get in here.
The retina scan, all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of like that secret of rooms.
Yeah.
So essentially, I will track you down if, if anything ever happens, or you're suspect number one. Don't make me suspect you. So, but no. So this is the room where we keep really the highest value stuff. So I mean, some of the things that we maintain, and this is more like a vault status type of room.
Okay.
Is P&G, we make crests. And so like original Norman Rockwell paintings from the Look Mom No Cavities campaign and that kind of stuff. This is also where I keep all of our older Gillette razor stuff, razor material. So the actual physical materials.
So we're past stories and concepts and, successes and failures. We're now into the actual, tangible assets of property.
I would say in this corporate archives, we are never past the stories, the failures, or the successes. These are, and this is where some folks that are watching the video are probably going to go a little insane.
Right.
Because for me, these are artifacts. These are props for telling those particular stories.
Okay.
These are the, it's not the end all be all kind of a thing. And so some people have accused me, Greg, you're not really passionate about the fact that you've got so many Tecmatic razors, or so that you've got, like King C. Gillette's original prototype. I'm foreshadowing here, all this kind of stuff. But the fact is that those are all materials that I use to then tell the stories. And that's, this is all the inspiration stuff that then hopefully leads to a King C. Gillette line of products.
I gotcha.
See where I'm going with that?
Yes.
So you asked me when we were talking about setting up the video and everything, what are your, what did you
I think I said crown jewels.
Crown jewels. Right? So I'll go with that. Crown jewels, I'll go with Holy Grail kind of a thing and all that kind of stuff. I love putting the very first Gillette razor in people's hands.
And most people don't know this. People think about the double ring and as, a lithotin, but there's actually a story that happened before that.
Absolutely. So I told you before, King C. Gillette had the epiphany moment for the razor in 1895, right? But if you look at the chronology, the company isn't founded until 1901, and then we don't even sell anything until 1903. Right. That's a significant gap. And it was because he was trying to find a guy to make the razor blade. Right. The handles were fairly easy. So it was around 1901, company's founded, he finds somebody to make some prototype handles.
Ooh.
There are 3 of them.
3 in existence.
3, that's it, just 3.
And where are those 3?
2 of them are here.
Right in front of us. 2 are right here.
2 are right here. We'll share those in just a minute.
Okay.
The other is on display at World Shaving headquarters in Boston.
Okay. So one's at, back at the homeland.
Yes. Back in the birthplace, all that kind of stuff.
At the mothership.
Yeah. At the mothership. The other 2 are here, and we keep them here. They're under lock and key. I don't even honestly keep them on display in our Heritage Center most often. Yeah. So, so there were 3 of these. And there were 3 that were created for the 3 primary kind of financiers for the business. So one was for King Gillette. Yep. One was for John Joyce, and another was for Jacob Heilborn. Right. So the only difference, the handle is the exact same. The only thing that's different, and remember these are prototypes, so there's still a functional reason why are we creating these things, is comb length.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
okay.
So the comb length changes on each one. So the first one is John Joyce. So this is the shortest comb of the 3.
Very, very short comb. Wow, very cool. It's holding history.
Yep, that's number 2. And John Joyce, for those folks that don't know who John Joyce is, John Joyce is...
He's the money.
He's the money.
He's the deep pockets that made all this happen.
Absolutely the deep pockets. King Gillette brought the passion, brought the idea, all that kind of stuff. But when we talk about the history of Gillette, how aggressive they were, that's John Joyce.
And that was a $5 razor too, with John Joyce. Everyone else was doing these $2 models, and he said, no, we're going to go in. We're going to go in strong.
Do you know the story back on that one?
Tell me. Tell us.
It's a wonderful story. I love it, because what it is that the board of directors, they're at this big meeting. We finally got the product. It's in the packaging. It's going to be in this tin container. We've got X numbers of these. We need to set the price. What are we going to do? Right. And other razors were selling for about $250. Right. And most of the board, including King Gillette, was... $3 feels about right. And, John Joyce is like, well, you can go ahead and sell them for $3. Understand, I'm buying all of them, and I'm reselling them for $5. And everybody's like, "Oh, that sounds like a great idea. Let's just sell them for $5 and
Right.
everything." And he was right, of course. People were more than happy to go ahead and pay that super premium price. That premium price for inflation today is over 100. It's like $165 today.
Yeah.
So essentially, what our heated razor, the Gillette Labs heated razor, sells for is essentially what this
Interesting.
razor costs.
I was going to add, because that $5 price moniker stuck with Gillette for so long. I mean, the new improved had a $5 price point, the new deluxe. I mean, they're aristocrat and stuff. Always, the nicer razors were $5 the whole time.
Absolutely. That was the top of our pricing tier.
Got
So
it.
I've shown you Joyce's. This one, and I'm going to take it out of its protecting case here. This is King Gillette's. So of the three, this is number one. This is the razor that, it has, and we'll take it apart in a second, but
Wow.
King C. Gillette's prototype razor.
Absolutely unbelievable to hold. You're holding and looking at razor history. You're looking at something that not only changed shaving, but I think one story we haven't even touched upon yet, which I'm surprised. Oh, look, we got to turn this. Someone put the cap on incorrectly.
They did.
There's a line over here and there's a line over here.
Yeah,
It's okay. I'll fix it.
that's okay.
But
I actually preset that, so I gave you your little moment.
well, I'm
See
glad
how I
we
did-
can put
see
this
how I
back into
did that?
order. But one story that I think is so important to touch upon is the fact that this changed the world in the sense that people were so used to products being, you buy it once and you're never going to, get rid of it. You're going to, resalvage it. You're going to take care of it. This was the idea of a disposable product really coming to fruition, and this idea of this razor and blade model, that you'd have a product that would need things to be constantly replaced. Just really, you see it in cars with all the replacement parts. You see it obviously with printers and cartridges and toners, right? But it also changed the way men shaved.
Yep.
This allowed men, as we've talked about with the railroad car, this allowed men to take shaving on the go with them and to have this personal barbershop in their bathroom.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your look, your way, whenever you wanted it.
And I mean, barbershops were not very clean. They weren't very sanitary. You didn't know what the condition of hygiene was. You could get an infection, staph infection or something going to a barbershop. Now you can have all this at the comfort in your bathroom.
And I think that a lot of people don't realize is the affordability. You get away from the price
Right.
and the time commitment of the barbershop as well.
Right.
So, but yeah, you can compare this to a double ring. You can obviously see.
It is. It's a longer handle, and I love the knurling at the bottom.
Yeah.
And obviously, so they were experimenting even with the comb lengths here, and I'm glad you told that story.
Some of the other stuff that I saw your video on the original 1947.
You watch
Tecmatic.
our channel?
I watch your channel. Watch your channel. I watch your channel. I'm on a lot of the Facebook groups. I go out.
You're keeping tabs, though, right?
I'm actually just kind of like lurking. I'm I'm a compulsive lurker. I just kind
Okay.
of want to see. But you know what? I want to learn too.
Okay.
And so I've learned so much. Honestly, it's one of those things that you can never stop learning. And so there's so much knowledge within this community that
Right.
I'm absolutely always out there. So I know that there's a fascination with the Tecmatic.
I think we talked about it in our video, and I'm flattered that you watch our channel. I think it's this whole idea that there was this elusive kind of white rhinoceros razor, and the guys out there who are collecting, the guys who are trying to put all the key pieces in their collection, they hear rumors about this razor, and I think that the reason that it was only made for 1 year adds to it. You can't
Sure.
get a lot of them. There wasn't a lot, but I love this razor because and I'm sure from P&G's point of view, it was the beginning of so many things for Gillette. It took it into a completely different direction than they were, presently going. I'll let you tell that story because I've already told it to my viewers.
Sure. No, I mean, it's just a matter of you've always got to be looking for the next step. You've always got to be years ahead
Yes.
of where your consumers may be thinking about. And you get there by watching your consumers, by just trying out different ideas. And so the Tecmatic took a long time to get there. that whole idea of injecting the blade was not something that we just threw together and put together. I mean, I think you had some of these.
Yeah,
in the
to a
video.
photo, yeah.
Yeah, through a photograph. And I mean, so you can see these are from the 1930s. They're not even dated, but they're created by a gentleman. His name is Nicholas Testy. And if you look at a lot of the Gillette patents from the 1930s, 40s, 50s, Nicholas Testy was just insanely brilliant when it comes to Gillette innovation and everything. And he innovated a lot of the products. He's behind a lot of this innovation and so forth. But what I always find interesting about this is, again, he's got these, crude injectors.
Yes, very basic.
The toggle is something that he's experimenting with as early as the 1930s, for locking a blade into position and everything.
Yeah,
so you
quick loading.
So you see this cross-section of these different ideas and everything. So this is one of my favorites. So this is the Tecmatic. This is the one that we still have the shipper. We've still got the information. We got a couple different versions of the prototypes, but this is probably our most complete. My hands are slippery.
Absolutely gorgeous, and I don't even have one of these in my collection. I got one similar to this, but this is the production model.
Right.
Unobtainium.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's just great though, because we can take, like these razors, these very super early prototypes. We can stack them up. They're all prototypes. They're all very. You're still thinking about the concept of the product and everything. This is still a prototype. This is a 1945.
I call that like an executive level, like something you take into the boardroom and kind of show. It's not like the machine shop look of this.
Right, exactly. And so then you, of course, get to the finished product and so forth. But it's important to understand what that evolution is and see how did this thing kind of transform itself over the years. Now, I mean, again, this is a failure. This product is a failure.
It did fail, and I kind of alluded to that in my shave video. The performance was very similar to other razors like this, like an Aristocrat or something, but the mechanics of loading the blade were so cumbersome. And then trying to, at the very end, I was kind of joking, like, oh, we need to take this blade out. I tried unloading it, because nowhere in the concept, we're always thinking, oh, it's going to eject. But then what?
Yeah.
The shicks, they shoot back off. We just keep on going. But you can't do that here. You got to pull it back off. And trying to extract it was so cumbersome. I almost cut myself. And so I can see why this was just not something that worked for a double edge, but what did it lead to?
Right. So what's funny is that I'm surprised it even made it this far.
Right.
Honestly, it should have died.
Should have died over here.
Over here somewhere is where it should have died. Where it led to, though, was there's this other 1948 razor, which also uses, it's a thin blade. So I mean, I call this, it's the only one that I'm aware of, but it's a prototype. I call this the narrow blade razor.
But this never came out.
This never came out, no. I mean, but it's got this great, I mean, Testy even, again, Testy is the one that came up with this. He even did, my eyes are going bad, 5648 is when he introduced this. So it's kind of being created in parallel. It's using another injector.
Right.
It's just a thin blade. It's a much thinner blade in terms of the width of the blade and stuff. You're still injecting. And I'm assuming this is not operational. It's totally, but it would actually just push out the old one. So you kind of get the chic experience.
But this whole thing, as we talked about, this led to the dispenser.
But what probably others don't realize is that there's a couple other things with this. One, it's just gorgeous. I mean, just absolutely love the shape of the handle and everything.
This.
Right. I was like, he obviously, I don't know. I think Testy was probably a little bit more passionate about this because he's got the wing design underneath. He also made it so that the head pivots.
Pivoting head. So we're back
heads.
in 1940 of the pivoting head.
We're experimenting with the pivoting. Now, it's not going to pivot while you're shaving with it, but it is pivotable so that you can adjust it. Right? You can hit it straight. You can hit it either side. What's also here is the narrow blade. Gillette is beginning to move away from
taking this big piece of metal, and we're getting rid of all the scrap and getting down to just cutting edges.
What is the most efficient? Do we need that blade length to be? I mean, like today, our Gillette Lab blades are thinner in width than our blades that were for Mach 3, say, for example. I mean, so it's just literally, it's getting it down to be, again, this is in the spirit of King Gillette, and the upbringing that he had, be efficient as absolutely possible. Be innovative as that. We're getting that down closer and closer. And so this is really the advent of kind of moving away from the thicker, the wider blades into something that's actually thinner. But it also, I love the adjusting, because that's something that you wouldn't find operational on a razor until Atra in the late 1970s.
So another, 30 years later. Yeah, I remember seeing this one of the previous times I came here. I saw this, but I didn't understand the significance, and I'm glad you told me that story. See, there's even stuff I'm learning from you, and I really appreciate that.
Yep.
But yeah, this started the whole advent towards a system razor of getting the concept of having a razor handle and its blades to be interchangeable, that you
Yes.
had to get the blades from us. And I mean, as much as the guys out there in the double-edged world want to hate this idea, you can't blame Gillette for going this
Oh,
direction
no.
because they were going to be killed by the competitors. They were facing, everyone else is making all these blades. No one had the overhead of a machine shop to make this, the clamshell case. They had all this overhead, and yet
Yeah.
they're trying to get the profit center out of just this one thing.
Yeah, it's a mindset that we have to have,
Yeah.
and we've had it ever since day one. I mean, we were always looking. As soon as we created the original Gillette razor, as soon as we created this prototype, we're looking at ways to make it more efficiently.
Oh.
How can we, how can we not cut the quality, but how can we get those costs down? How
Yeah.
can we make it a better product? That all stacks up, and we infuse all those learnings into the new improved.
That's right.
And so, I mean, so this whole idea of we're always going to be taking our learnings and pivoting them
Yeah.
to another product. It's just the circle.
Yeah, I
that
think
we're
in
gonna
some of the guys'
follow.
minds, there's like this hard date of, okay, it's 67 with the Tecmatic, cartridge razor
Yep.
or a cassette razor, I should say.
Yep.
But no, it was the whole time from 1903 to 1910. There was, they figured
Yep.
out ways to 10 to 20. It just keeps on going.
Yeah, it just these innovations just kind of stack up on
Yeah.
it and so forth. So
So exciting, so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all around us, we're seeing boxes, and again, we're in this secret locked, archive room, the vault. I have to ask, and is there a box here that just is kind of like the wow factor? Because the guys out there think that it's all in glass display cases, but
Yeah.
they all are in these archive boxes. You guys have spreadsheets, you have catalog numbers.
sure. One of my favorite boxes is Lucky Box 13.
Ah,
It's a good luck number in my family, actually. So, I mean, this one's named. It's a product development and promotion, adjustable razors, 1957 forward. So, unboxing moment for you there.
wow.
So, you know what? All of this is completely safe. You're wearing gloves. Dig in there. Pull out whatever you want.
So if people didn't already know, you had just taken over the brand.
Yep.
And you just needed some pointers. And I was coming out here for a razor collector meeting in Westchester.
Yeah.
And somehow I finagled my way to come down here, and I was able to work for a couple hours. And so I recognized my handwriting on some of these bags, which I'm very honored that my handwriting's in this box here.
Preserved forever.
Yes.
And yes.
But some of these scenes were disheveled. Some of these scenes had been coming from Boston, and there wasn't someone like of your
Right.
caliber taking care of
Right.
this stuff at that point. And I think you had told me that a lot of these models had been sent out for trade shows and meetings all around the world, and they'd come back and
nobody knew exactly where to put them, and so it was just kind of a mess.
so part of your job was to
Yes.
first just kind of figure out what do we have,
Right.
what works together.
And sometimes you can't always organize it to the level you want, and so it's just
Sure.
putting in general groupings. And so, yeah, so you pulled out our bottom dial, three of our bottom dials.
And that's another elusive, kind of white rhinoceros razor series. People always talk about the Fat Boy, like, oh, Fat Boy, Fat Boy. I'm like, well, the real hard ones to find are these bottom dials. And,
Yep.
and inside of the group of bottom dials, there's 6 different colors. And it has to do with the 1 through 5 versus 1 through 9.
Yep.
And back to the stories of success, this was all about Gillette trying to figure out what worked well in the market, what did the consumer want, and they had done test markets, they were sending these out, limited sales.
Yep.
And what did people figure out? Why did they abandon this idea?
It's a geography issue. The knob at the bottom is simply too close
Yeah.
to the adjustment
The
knob.
butterfly knob.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so what they found is that through various testings, people were moving the knobs, they were opening the doors, it was just a bad design in that regard.
Right.
But what's great about this, and you and I have shared these, is that we have some detailed files
Yes.
on the test markets, the results, the saturation, how many they had, and we've got production numbers on
Yeah.
some of these and so forth.
And my marketing brain just loves all that. I mean,
Yeah.
I still remember that slide I saw that, radio ads, TV ads, and like, how many we made, what cities they went to. Like, that's just my
Yes.
absolute favorite. And people think that it's all about the artifact, but to me, I think we both love the knowledge and the behind the scenes story.
And part of it's the hunt.
Yes.
It's the hunt. It's the dig. It's the, chasing that elusive information down and so forth, and finding out, answering those unanswered questions today. What happens? You usually end up having more questions.
Yes. But another, obviously beautiful collector set, and anyone who collects Gillette razors knows about the Toggle series. And
Yep.
and again, it stems from these prototypes of trying to make a quick loading
Yep.
razor. So you see it in its very early steps, and you see it in its most grandiose step. But these were only made, I think, at Christmas 1960, if I'm not mistaken. And to see so many, we got half dozen here unopened, untouched, is just
yeah. We've still got 2 in the shippers.
Man,
so, yeah, just absolutely gorgeous stuff. And again, I mean, it's the toggle. I know people absolutely love the toggle. They, it's elusive. People want to have one.
Right.
I mean, Gillette considers it a failure.
And I always tell people, from the mechanical standpoint, and we're doing the revamps on them, we get a lot of them in to work on. No one else wants to touch them to work on them. They are abysmal compared to the regular Fat Boy or regular Slim adjustable. They're so much easier to use. They're problemsome. They can break. They can just mechanically fall apart. So yeah, they're kind of in the same category as the Tecmatic, where it's like beautiful to look at. We love the rare, the story, but mechanically and for sales, probably not very good.
Yeah. No, that's just
So this would be on the failure wall out there?
The toggle would, absolutely. Yeah, what did we learn? I mean, because it's a matter of what did we learn? What did we learn from the toggle?
Oh, the price point, $7.50 for these. The gold one was $10.
Plenty, yes.
Compared to $1.95, and $1.95 razor was the top-selling razor of all time, I think, for Gillette at the time.
Yes.
I mean, the Fat Boy, and that's why you see so many of them out there. People think the Fat Boy is rare. I'm like, no, they made them by the millions.
Right. No, absolutely. So there's another box I want to pull.
Okay. We'll twist my arm. We'll get another box over here.
Get this repacked.
The collector in me loves kind of the assurance that some of these beautiful sets are kind of in a safe place. We all want to collect them. We all want them to be in our display case. But man, this is where they belong.
Yeah.
People always ask me what's going to happen to my collection when I'm done with razors or I die. And I can tell you they'll be donated to Procter Gamble. I'm dead serious, because I would rather them come here and be preserved and be kept after than in someone's antique store or someone's display case.
Yeah.
And the sun hits it and destroys the fabric and it disintegrates over time.
Well, I'll be happy to go ahead and help you fulfill that dream there.
That fateful day.
So, okay, so this is a little bit taller box. It's another adjustable box.
Okay.
But what I want to focus on are the items in this
bag?
particular bag. So,
oh, yes. I think I saw an image of that a while back.
Because it's just a bunch of other toggles.
Oh, just a bunch of other...
Just a bunch of other razors.
Unopened, slims, and, just in the original package. That's nothing. We'll skip right over those.
Stories to be told. Stories to be told.
And there's about, if I remember correctly, like maybe 40 of these boxes that have artifacts, and then there's hundreds that have papers and records. Yeah, so
easily.
The focus is really on the papers.
Easily. So in terms of how many items we have tracked in our collection, this is our 4,315th item tracked.
Okay.
In our collection. What the story behind this is that this is, saved a photograph. So you remember the old store display cases, of course, where you have the glass top, you fold them up.
Yeah.
Well, somebody at Gillette went ahead and turned one of those into essentially a chronology of the adjustable razor history.
I've seen this. I think you shared it with me in the past, and it's stuff like this that the trips to the archive and communicating with you, this is the gold to me. Yeah. Seeing this obviously stirs my collector and my sales brain, but this is my historical brain and the knowledge. You could say, okay, well, the gold toggle in 1956, we made 2,700 of these.
Yep.
And knowing that, and then when someone says, I got one, how rare is it? You can say, well, we actually know.
Yep. So this came up. So our facility in Boston is located in South Boston.
Oh wow! You saved this for me because I didn't know that you actually had these.
Oh yeah, no, I've got the whole thing. Absolutely. So what occurred was that our facility is in South Boston, and there is just like a thrift store. And one of our employees reached out to me, and he said, "Hey Greg," he's like, "there's a thrift store not far from the plant. They've got these 2 great cases that are going to be coming up for auction soon." And I said, okay, great. I reached out to the thrift store, and I said, could you send me photographs of these? And so they sent me this one as well as the other case. And immediately alarm bells went off with this one. And
so these were at the thrift store just like this?
These were at the thrift store, mounted into the case, glass. It was completely sealed shut and everything. And
they'd obviously left from the Gillette plant.
Somebody, it was a display at some point that was hanging up on the wall.
And someone said, get rid of this junk.
Yep. Somebody took it home or whatever. It found its way to this thrift store, and I, inquired when is it going to be going up for auction. I obviously couldn't be there in person, and so I worked with the thrift store to set a maximum bid number, which was just astronomically high, and just hoping that there wasn't some well-endowed
double-edged razor guy.
Now I will tell you, there were a couple double-edged razor people in that were bidding on this, and I apologize to those folks out there.
Your pockets are a little bit deeper than theirs.
Yes. Let's just say that my maximum bid was insanely high because I understood exactly. And again, it's not so much. I didn't need two more, and there's two bottom dials. Like
you didn't need any more of the razors.
I didn't need more of the razors.
It was these cards.
It was the cards.
Yeah, because I don't know of another record, and I've dug through that, copies of the Blade. I don't know of another record of these quantities.
Right. Always. I mean, other collectors have always come and asked me. He's like, how many did we make? How many did we make of this? And I've never been. I saw this, and this was one of those crown jewels.
Wow.
No, we actually got hard, firm numbers that we can pair up. They're dated, so forth. So I apologize to those guys that I had to disappoint.
But guess what? Back to the preserving history in these artifacts and telling these stories. If you didn't get it, some collector, some double-edged guy could have got this, and these little cards could have literally just been put in a file cabinet, tossed aside, and then now, what? We would have never known.
Mm-hmm. So this is the lab razor. I mean, it was the ER13. It's the
I love all the little codes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was for sale. It was part of the Father's Day 1956 effort.
Right.
I mean, that was the test market for that one. Obviously, it's a test market. We're going to live and learn. We move over to the ER315. And 10,783 of these produced in 1956. We sold 6,500 of them. Sales tested. That was in Milwaukee and Fresno for Christmas 19. I mean, it's just...
Yes, and the cities and the dates and the quantities. And then the really cool thing is that like my real rare black bottom dial actually came from Fresno, California.
Yes.
And so I'm like, wow, it was there for a test market,
Yep, absolutely. So this is just, again, I got a lot of great razors here and everything, but the real win on this was this. So
shifting gears just slightly, a lot of the guys out there wonder stuff like, what is still at the Boston plant? And I know I haven't been there. I would love at some point in my career to go there, but I know you have. Is there stuff like this? Is there more drawers like that? Is there more secrets to be unfolded?
So the Boston, it's a wonderful piece of Boston history. I mean, it is a legacy there. It's really one of P&G's only facilities in the world that focuses on all three aspects of our business, which is research and development, business management, so it's the brand, that's where the CEO for Gillette sits and everything, as well as the manufacturing, all taking place within the exact same facility. So and the beauty of that is that you get all kinds of information and opportunity for folks to be talking. So so the folks in R&D can go down to the floor and watch as we're making the latest Gillette Labs cartridges. And
so I think you told me I've heard that the Boston plant still makes all the cartridges.
Yes. That's one of the facilities that makes cartridges.
One of the facilities, and it's still very much under lock and key.
Oh,
it's still very much tight to the vest.
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, there are certain secrets, certain levels of secrets within P&G that are just beyond top secret.
Wow.
That, Gillette's manufacturing process is absolutely one of those.
In the vein of machines, I want to just get this out of the way because this is a question that comes up all the time.
Yeah, I know
you know what I'm going.
This
This is a $64,000 question. Does Gillette still have the machines to make Fat Boys and toggles, and they're over there in the corner and they're just dusty and they need to be dusted off and reused?
No.
I didn't think so.
No.
I always tell people that, like they say, well, why can't Gillette just remake the Fat Boy? I said, you have no idea the amount of machinery needed to make that.
Yes.
Progressive stamping machines,
right?
Folding brass, plating operations, all of that stuff probably was out in the 70s or 80s.
I don't know exactly when. I don't know the time frame for that. I don't know what happened to that machinery. If it was something where we moved it to one of our other facilities around the world, I don't know.
No, does anybody know?
Not that I have found.
Wow.
And I've asked.
I told you my theory that someone told me.
Which was?
Dumped in the Boston River.
Until I scuba dive into the Boston River, I'm not going to be able to confirm that.
That Gillette was that concerned about not letting their machines go out anywhere else, even on auction somewhere, that they literally just destroyed them by, let's let them rust at the bottom of the Boston River.
It's a good theory.
Yeah, but it's like another conspiracy there. Who knows?
I don't know. I cannot confirm nor deny. I have no information whatsoever on it. So.
And from Gillette's point of view, kind of circling it back a little bit, This is steps to where they're at now.
Mm-hmm.
This is not like, there's not like 2 chapters like double edge and cartridge. It's more of how did we get from the beginning of it to where we are now.
We're a grooming company.
We're a grooming company.
We're a grooming company. I mean, yes, and when we talk about breaking paradigms, and obsoleting ourselves and everything, we want to obsolete ourselves. We want to develop the next technology.
It was going to happen.
It's the same thing. Think about it in terms of Tide. Tide is, we have partnerships with NASA. Tide is going to the International Space Station. Why are we going there? Because if you're an astronaut, you're living on the ISS, your clothes don't get washed. Your clothes get pitched. They throw them all into a capsule, and then they shoot them down and they burn up into the atmosphere. Well, we've got to figure out how to clean clothes in space if we're going to go to Mars or live on the moon and all that kind of stuff. The same thing is, so technology that's developed and that will help there will help us here. We need to be thinking about the day when your shirt repels dirt, repels stains. What place does Tide have in that world? Well, we need to be leading that innovation. The same is true for Gillette. We need to be leading the innovation in terms of this grooming. How do people look the way they want to look? If that means moving away from a double edge to a cartridge to whatever the next thing may be, I have no idea.
Laser hair removal, just laser it off.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, who knows what it is? You walk into a box and it's just all gone. I don't know. But Gillette better be working on that.
Got it. So there's not going to be a limited run of 5,000 Fat Boys for Christmas.
No.
That's not going to happen.
No. Closest thing we got, and is the
Heritage,
and the
new King C.
And the new King C.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. The design, the fact that it's in a case, the fact that we've got the diamond logo there, the fact we got a signature, we got a card inside. I can't tell you how many photographs of handles and various handles across all of, folks, this could have been a new improved handle. This could have been.
Oh, okay. There were other competitors.
There were other competitors.
And did they ask you to provide some
Yes,
of these?
they said, what would you recommend? What do you think a Gillette double-edged consumer would want? And I sent them about 5 of
so
my
they came out of
razors.
these boxes,
Yep.
and this is the whole point of holding on to these.
Yes.
So you could say, hey, here's some contenders, here's some ones we should go with.
Yep, absolutely. They went ahead and they gravitated towards the bar handle, and I was like, excellent choice.
Yeah, classic.
And whatever one of the 5 you pick, I'm good with it. So
that's cool.
Excellent way to go.
That is so cool. Yeah, no, I thought you guys did a great job with that. I have 2 of them, and when they came out, I was like, buy it now because you don't know if it's ever going to be out again, and I love it.
Absolutely. So
Wow.
so those are some of my favorite stories. There's tons more, but
I know this is
you've only
fantastic.
got so much time in your video.
I know, right? I have fond memories of working in this room with you, and digging through these, and figuring out some of these stories, and just absolutely one of the coolest experiences, one of the coolest rooms to be in. I think this is my happy place.
Well, I'm glad to give you a glimpse back into your happy place.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Well, we just want to really emphasize how honored we are to be here today. This has been a trip of a lifetime and a career highlight for me, really, to be in this department and to bring our film crew in here and see all this. But I want everyone at home to understand that this is not open to the public. It's not a museum. There's no tickets outside. No. You guys are not buying anything. No. You're certainly not selling anything. No. And that if people have razors, they need questions on dating, get on a chat room. If you have something you want to sell, put it on eBay or the public market out there. But this is for internal purposes. This is all about telling the stories. This is all about building on the successes of these brands. So we're just really happy to be here today. So thank you so very much.
Matt, it's been great having you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, no problem.
Keep on moving on.